Hi guys, it's Trish again. Remember me? We met last week, or virtually. You know what I mean. Actually, I'm getting to know you a little bit as we proceed. I'm enjoying reading your messages, and I'm embarking on your blogs, and I'm finding you are very interesting people. So I'm excited that you're in this class, and we're just going to continue exploring what it means to be a character, not just you as a character, but as writers create their own characters, their personas on the page. So this week we're going to read a bunch of stuff actually. So you're going to have a chunk of reading. So don't wait until the last minute. Don't wait till your discussions and blogs are due. Start reading now so that you understand what we're talking about. So you have OER chapters 4 through 7. And the chapter on personal narratives, you might, if you've used the OER textbook in another class before, you might have spent a little time with that chapter. But really, this is about how a personal narrative comes into the world, right? People tell their stories and they have plots and structures to those stories. And did you notice what I just did with my hands? I don't know if you noticed that there's a little pyramid kind of image I'm giving you. I'm referring to the Freytag pyramid, which we'll talk about in a second. We have storylines that we follow, an arc of a story, but a story can't have any grounding unless the narrator or the speaker has some gravitas, some purpose, something about them that makes them credible speakers. So this week you're going to read about personal narratives. You're going to be reading about using interpretation to develop a thesis and 2 essays. Okay, the OER reading, get that under your belt before you begin the other stuff. Then you're going to read these 2 essays. One is called How It Actually Feels to Live with Severe Anxiety by Eleanor Morgan. Okay, this is a personal essay. It's very personal. It's, obviously something that affects this person very personally. But to persuade you to what it means or to understand what it means to live with severe anxiety, she has to paint a picture for you. She has to walk you into her life. Is she successful in doing that? Is she successful in painting a picture that characterizes her as someone who lives with this issue? And does she inspire in you any number of reactions? For example, does she work with pathos? Does she pull on your emotions? Does she speak with credibility? How's her ethos, her character as a speaker? Does she use logos? Does she give you good reasoning for you to believe and understand really to understand what it means to have anxiety, right? So you're going to look at that. You're also going to look at another essay called The Price of Black Ambition. Another essay about a personal experience, but again, storytelling. What elements of a story does this author use to help you walk into her life and her experience? Now, if I were to tell you I like juggling cats, you'd think, my God, she's a beast. But if I were to tell you that, you would say, I don't really buy it, right? That doesn't make sense to me. That's crazy. I'd have to tell you a pretty compelling story as to why I would ever do such a thing. I don't do that. I love my cats. I would never juggle them. That's not my point. My point is, just telling you that something is a fact doesn't necessarily persuade you to be empathetic or to try to walk side by side with that person. You have to be drawn in by something. So this week we're going to be looking at craft elements as well as the story itself. So we're going to look at plot, we're going to look at character or persona, but also what kind of elements of storytelling do these authors use to draw us in? For example, do you see scene, setting, dialogue? What do you think about their diction? That's their word choice, right? You'll notice that in some cases the word choice is pretty casual, maybe even a little raunchy in places. Does that add or detract from the author's credibility? Maybe the voice is a little more academic or formal. Is that part of the persuasive voice? So look at the tone, look at the word choice, look at the descriptions, the characterization of the author in relationship to her world, and also in relationship to others who occupy that world. So you're going to be looking at a larger picture. So to break it down for you, that's what analysis is. You look at the whole, you take it apart and look at the elements, the ways in which these different techniques work together to build a story. So that's a lot of thinking. Okay, so you're going to have to do a lot of reading before you even get launched into this week's assignments. For example, you're going to have a discussion about analyzing persona and plot. So you're going to be thinking about both of these essays. You're going to see how they work in similar and different ways. This is going to take a little effort. You're also going to be looking at the plot pyramid. In this particular piece, or this assignment, you're going to actually read a children's book. You're going to listen to and watch a YouTube video about a children's book and look at a plot pyramid, which is that Freytag pyramid that I just described. And that is where you have a baseline situation. We call it the unstable but static baseline or ground situation. And then there's a turning point. Then one day, and then a rising action, what happened, and then another turning point or climax, and a resolution. And in that resolution, that downturning of the pyramid, that's where the reflection typically happens, where you have some kind of, oh, this is what I learned from this process, reflection. So notice if either of these stories, these two essays, The Price of Black Ambition, or How It Actually Feels to Live with Severe Anxiety, follow any of those patterns, and how could you plot it, right? So there's a worksheet here as well for you. That sounds like a lot of work. Well, it kind of is, but it's groundwork for you because you're going to be working toward an essay, right? And your big essay prompt is right here, and it really is rooted in everything you're doing this week is prep for this. Okay, so I'm not just making you do busy work. This is actually really useful stuff for this big essay, and we'll talk about that in greater detail next week. But I just wanted to have you have a heads up. So the prompt is here. Got a lot of reading, but you know what? These are short chapters. They really are. It's going to be okay. These will take a little bit of time, so give yourself the time, then dive in. And I hope you have fun with this. I really do. I think if you spend some energy in this, you're going to have fun. So I look forward to learning more about you, reading your blogs, reading about, well, just all the good stuff. If you have questions or concerns, send me a message, send me an email, come to my office, all that good stuff. Other things you should know. I've added a couple of new doo-woppies here on your menu. Given current events, which are always up in the air, and especially right now, I've added some information about DACA and immigrant resources. This is from the New Mexico Dream Team. Might be helpful. There's a lot going on this week on that topic. In other news, somebody was saying that they didn't have access to Microsoft Word. Did you know that as a CNM student, you can get Microsoft Office at no charge? Did you know that? Through the CNM bookstore. So if you go to the CNM webpage and you type in Microsoft Word for students, you will get a link. And I thought I'd already put that on this menu, but if I haven't, I will put it on there soon. So if you have other concerns, questions, issues, bada bing, bada boom, let me know. I look forward to reading your work, and you know where to find me. Take care. Have a great week.